Hello, and welcome to our series called Testing Ground for our small groups. And I'm so glad that you've been able to be a part of this and that you're in a group, whether it's at home with your own family or whether it's with friends in someone else's home. We're just glad to have you with us. And I'm excited about this series. I'm excited about what it has to say and what it has to how it's going to challenge, I believe, and really change us. This is probably one of the most important series that I've done in a very long time when it comes to our small group sessions. So trust me when I tell you that, because there will be a lot of battles that'll try and keep you separated, try and keep families or couples or individuals from being able to attend all these series. But you won't want to miss a one. And I trust that as you're with us tonight or today or this afternoon or this morning or whenever it might be, that you're going to commit yourself to be a part, even if it's a huge test for you to be a part of it. So God bless you. We're going to get started. And I want to just begin by asking you the simple question. Have you ever been in a mall where somebody comes up to you and stops you and asks you to maybe answer some questions, or this one here, test a new product? I used to run into that in a Chapel Hill. Years ago, there was a little office that sat back in a corner, I should say, in a hallway back there. And there was this one man, same man all the time. And you tried to avoid him, but he would sort of walk you down if he saw you and said, that's somebody there. Well, anyways, this one particular time, the guy came up and asked us to evaluate this particular product. In other words, what they do is they take you into a testing facility and place a product like a new food that in front of you, and you have to try it, and then you write down how it tasted. In other words, you evaluate it and you give your opinion on it. It is a product that they are testing before it's deemed authentic and user-friendly. Now, I guess almost, American Idol is something like that. I mean, I have to, sometimes I just want to cry out to shows like that and say, get a real job or something. I don't know, but I'm going to get in, everybody's being tried out until they become the authentic and the main idol. But anyways, there are labs that try out products like hairsprays and toys and kitchen appliances and all sorts of things along that line to see if they will work like they're supposed to and, in essence, fulfill its purpose or its potential. Now, that's really what the testing ground is all about. There was 3 companies at one time that were looking at creating this bear-proof trash can. That's right, I said a bear-proof trash can. And so they spent time in the labs and they put it together and they all came up with what they believed was a prototype of a bear-proof trash can. Anyways, 2 out of the 3 companies failed the test. In other words, when they put the can in the place in the zoo where the bears were able to get to it, 2 of the cans got ripped apart, ripped open, shredded, and so forth. Only 1 out of the 3 actually passed that test. It was not your ordinary trash can. It was able to be deemed a bear-proof trash can, and that it's bear-proof and that it can deliver on that claim. Now, see, it's interesting because as you look at something like that, there is a question that had to be answered. And that question was, is this can bear-proof? The only way to find out the answer was to put it under testing, under a high-pressure situation, to actually find out whether or not it really was indeed bear-proof. Now again, 2 failed the test. They're not bear-proof. Only 1 has a new name now, and it operates at a new level. And that's the only one that can be declared bear-proof. Now, when a product fails a test, it goes back to the level it was. Just a theory, maybe an idea. But it's not a proven product. It may get some development or it may remain as it is, but one thing is for sure, it's not going to advance. On the other hand, when a product passes the test, it's promoted. It's like watching military school, individuals in military school, as they go through test after test after test, they eventually become promoted. They are military graduates. It's the same way in life. As a matter of fact, take a look at the scripture in your notes there. It says in James chapter 1, consider it a sheer gift, friends, when tests and challenges come at you from all sides. You know that under pressure, your faith life is forced into the open and shows its true colors. So don't try to get out of anything prematurely. Let it do its work so you can become mature and well developed and not deficient in any way. Now, I've chosen to take that out of the Message Bible because I love the way that it explains itself. Notice, first of all, that he's saying, hey, consider it a privilege, count it all joy when tests are coming into your life from every side. And then notice the end of the verse, because he's basically saying that the author of the universe, the one who created life, is observing and he's watching. And the goal is that in the end, it may be well with you. In the end, the goal is that you can be matured, well developed, and not deficient in any way. Now, look at verse 12 there in your notes. Anyone who meets a testing challenge head on and manages to stick it out is mighty fortunate. For such persons loyally in love with God, the reward is life and more life. Now let me just say this straight out, and that is that testing is a common part of everyone's life. It's not just you. You're not the only one going through it. Even though most of the time people are usually unaware of it, testing is going on every day. I wish there was some way that we could, hook up an announcement that would cause us, to shine. That would miss the point, because it's not the performance. The point is to prove what you authentically are. That's the issue. That's what a test is all about. It is to prove what you are, what you authentically are. Now, what you want people to think you are, in that sense. It's not. Wouldn't it be great if that, though, every time there was a test that was coming, that you were being tested, there would be this going on, and then this announcement would follow that that would say, this is a test of the heavenly development system. It's only a test. Hang in there. Hang in there. Basically, that's what we need to be saying. Hang in there. It's just a test. But it doesn't happen that way. In fact, testing usually comes dressed up in common, ordinary clothes. Tests come in the form of problems. They come in the form of circumstances. Tests come in the form of just everyday situations. So most people are just totally unaware that a test is underway. And they are totally unaware that, depending on how well they do with the test, that it affects where their life goes from here. See, because testing always precedes promotion. Testing always precedes promotion. Most people think it's just a problem. Most people think it's just life. Most people think, oh boy, another bummer deal going down at this. Why is my life turning out like this? And so they have no recognition that how you do with that problem, how you do on that problem, that thought, that situation will really determine where you're going to go from here. So because you don't become a military graduate because you're handsome, like me, or because you know somebody, you become a military graduate because you have stood the test. Now, what I want to do here is I want to show you 9 tests that are what I call proven testing grounds for the believer. Now, I want to be able to focus on the question that each test is intended to answer. Remember, for the trash container, it was the simple question, was it bear-proof? For the military individual, the military is going through, graduates, the question is, are they military leadership material. There's a question that goes along with every test. And as you look at these 9 tests, I'll be getting into the questions as we go along, but take a look at these tests. You've got the test of small things, the motivation test, the credibility test, the wilderness test, the authority test. You've got the warfare test, the offense test, the test of time, and the lordship test. Now, in case you weren't able to be at a service that you heard this, there's going to be 8 of these tests covered here, but I'm going to be covering the test of offense in service during a Sunday morning. So if you haven't gotten to hear that, grab one of the CDs. We'll make that available to you without any problem, because we need to know all these tests and the questions that need to be answered. Now, I'll say this right off. These are examples of common tests that we go through in our lifetime. My only question to you is, do any of these in here ring a bell? I mean, can you say, I think I've been there before? Let me take a look at my T-shirt. Yeah, I've been there, done that. Now I got the T-shirt to prove it. But the question is for you in the group: are any of you there now? See, there's a question, and you might say, well, I passed that test. Why do I have to do it again? Well, when you've passed the math test in first grade, that doesn't mean you've passed the algebra test in high school. These tests keep coming back around at higher levels of intensity. And when the stakes are higher, or when there is more to be demonstrated or revealed, that's when the test. So let's take a look at test number 1. And it's called the test of small things. And here's the question, simple question: can you handle more? The test of small things is simply asking, can you handle more? Is your energy exhausted where you're at right now? Or do you have energy, vision, enthusiasm for something beyond where you are right now? It's one thing, friend, to pray for prosperity, to pray for growth and increase, but it's a whole nother thing to be able to handle it. Hello. Now, I want to caution you, because if you've been going around and saying things like, well, I don't know how much more I can take. If it's not one thing, well, it's another. It's the kids. It's you. It's the broken down washing machine. It's the people who knocked on my door and wanted to talk today. I don't know how much more I can take. Well, can we talk? Because remember something, throughout this entire series, I'm just the messenger. Please don't kill the messenger. Is that what your vocabulary sounds like? Is that what you kind of express in life when your boss brings you another project? Do your eyes simply roll around? Does steam come out of your ears? You tell your friends, I can't believe it. Finally ran out of breath. See, I'm sorry. You think it's just life. You think it's just situations. Let me tell you something. In reality, it is a test. If what you're doing now is killing you, God doesn't want to put any more on top of what you're already doing. It's like I watch sometimes with parents with kids, and please, this poor parent has one kid, and it's just like pulling your hair out and everything else, and then you got people who tell you, oh, it just gets easier when you have more. Don't believe these people. It's not true. The more you got, the more you got. Anyways, I shouldn't even go there. Look, if you live in a 650 foot, or I should say square foot apartment, and it looks like, you've got the clothes here, you can't find a kitchen table for everything that's there. You sort of move things around to find a telephone someplace. Why would you pray for a house that's 1,400 square feet? Why would God want you to see you get a fort in order to increase the man? I need to get off this subject. I just tell you right. But let's get to the scripture. Do you remember Joshua and Caleb? Remember the difference in them and the other people who went on their way to the promised land? Do you remember the conversations that took place there? When they all left Egypt, everybody's going, yeah, we're out of Egypt. We're going to the promised land. It's ours, man. Let's go. And off they went. Then they get into the middle of the desert and they find out that there's a few battles between them and the land. And their hearts kind of grow faint and they start saying, I can't take this anymore. Why are we out here anyways? Well, remember the two that step up, especially after they've gone into the land and spied, and it's Joshua and Caleb. They have a whole different spirit. They've got the same journey as the others, same giants, same opposition, same situation, but a totally different spirit, a totally different perspective and mind. They're going, dude, bring it on, because there's vision in their hearts. We're going to have our own land, our own house, our own farm, and they are stirred up. They're excited about something that is beyond where they are right now. Let me say that again. That is beyond where they are right now. And they aren't messed up about being in the desert. They're looking beyond the desert. They're excited about the future. Listen, if where you are is really gratifying and satisfying and you're really happy with it, then point number one is not nearly as important for you. But if you're a frustrated soul, if you've been wondering why in the world I'm not advancing, why I'm not seeing more fruit taking place in my life, why am I not being given more opportunities here, more doors open for me, more promotion in life, why do I feel like I'm just going around in circles and not getting anywhere, then this is intended to help you to consider getting a different attitude about your life as it is now, and taking you and taking with you what you're looking and taking some delight and pride in it, and saying, you know what, this might be a little house, but it's going to be a clean house. My car might not be the latest model, but I'm going to make sure there aren't any French fries stuck in between the seats. I'm going to be a good steward. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to organize, because my life is in chaos right now. I'm not handling what I have right now, and I need to get more in a position of dominion with what I have in my life. Because I believe when you do, there's a spiritual testing that is being passed. And I believe in that spiritual testing that heaven is watching. And when you do well with what you have and you answer the question, can you handle more? Something takes off. There's a new level that you hit. And all heaven is beginning to get excited, because they can see that you can see beyond where you're at right now. There's more in store. I trust that you'll be joining us next week when we begin to get into some more of these tests. And as we begin to bring them all together and begin to realize that the tests that we go through, the tests that we're dealing with, have questions that need to be answered. My question to you with this first session, are you ready to handle more? I believe you are. And I believe that God is doing something in your life because of it. May God richly bless you. We'll see you next week.